If you want to conquer an empire, you build an army, you project absolute dominance, and you just crush your enemies. But today's deep dive into a Christian sermon titled Talking About Jesus kind of throws that conventional wisdom entirely out the window.
It really does, yeah.
So our mission today is to explore this massive theological paradox in the text. Basically, how the ultimate figure of authority is described simultaneously as a vulnerable, slain lamb and a fierce, conquering lion. So, okay, let's unpack this, because to our modern sensibilities, those two archetypes are completely mutually exclusive.
Right. I mean, this sermon deliberately leans into that whiplash. Because on one hand, you have the slain lamb, and it's important to note this isn't an image of helplessness.
Right, it's a choice.
Exactly. The text frames it as a conscious, deliberate choice to endure suffering. The lamb takes on this immense, crushing weight of human brokenness and guilt and, sin.
Wow.
But then simultaneously, the text presents the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. This is an entity holding absolute authority, dismantling strongholds, and basically ensuring ultimate justice.
And I think that's exactly where the tension lies. Because normally a conquering king marches in with an earthly army to overthrow empires.
Right.
Yet here, the ultimate victor walks submissively to his execution at Calvary. So I have to push back on the underlying logic here. Like, how does weakness equal power? I mean, our instinct is to fight back when we're threatened.
Well, what's fascinating here is the mechanism behind that paradox. The text argues that these aren't conflicting identities at all.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they're a sequential blueprint. The vulnerability of the lamb is the exact weapon used to secure the victory of the lion.
Oh, I see. So the vulnerability is the weapon.
Exactly. In worldly terms, you defeat an enemy by inflicting violence on them. But in this theological framework, Jesus bankrupts the power of sin and death by absorbing it.
By absorbing it, that's a huge shift.
Right. By willingly taking the punishment, the lamb pays a moral debt that aggression just never could.
So he breaks the cycle of destruction by basically refusing to participate in it.
Precisely.
Instead of returning the blow, he absorbs it completely, which exhausts the enemy's power, and that sacrifice satisfies the demands of justice, which then unleashes the lion's absolute authority to rule.
It's a total inversion of how we think about winning.
It really is. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? If the ultimate victory was won through submission, how does someone actually live that out in their daily life?
Well, the sermon calls this practice dying daily. And rather than listing out like a rigid set of rules, the text challenges the core human instinct of self-preservation.
Which is pretty hard to do.
It is. It demands followers mimic the lamb by abandoning the illusion of control. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really means actively dismantling our own egos.
Which goes against literally every survival mechanism we have. I mean, we are wired to defend ourselves, to win the argument, to hold on to grudges because, it makes us feel protected.
Oh, absolutely.
We desperately try to build our own little temporary kingdoms where we call the shots.
And the text argues that this white-knuckled grip on pride and selfishness is precisely what blocks spiritual power.
Interesting.
Yeah, when you demand to be right, or when you manipulate situations to serve your immediate desires, you are operating under worldly rules of dominance. The sermon highlights 3 ways followers must, quote-unquote, die daily.
Okay, what are they?
Dying to pride, which means choosing humility and forgiveness. Then dying to selfishness, so putting others' needs first. And finally, dying to control.
Surrendering anxieties to God's timing instead of forcing an outcome.
Exactly. The application here is stepping out of the way.
So by letting go of the need to manufacture your own flawed defense, you clear the space for genuine resurrection power.
You got it.
The sermon's conclusion makes perfect sense in that light. Walking faithfully in the vulnerable footsteps of the Lamb is what keeps followers secure under the protection of the undefeated lion.
Right, because you can't experience the lion's victory if you're still trying to fight the battle yourself using the world's aggressive tactics. The surrender is the victory.
It is such a radical blueprint. I mean, we spend so much energy trying to project power and bare our teeth when we feel threatened.
We really do.
But if willingly giving up control and choosing vulnerability is actually the truest path to triumph, how might applying that upside-down wisdom transform the way you approach your biggest personal conflict this week? Will you try to force a victory, or will you find the courage to surrender?